Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, how are we this morning?
Great. How are you, Henry?
I am great. Thank you so much for asking. Listen, I'm doing excellent because even though I was up till 2:30 in the morning finishing this entire series, I'm good. I am great. And I give you a round of applause because well done. Well done.
And did you like it?
Yes, I really did. And it really got me in the end when we left on that note of como me duele, and I'm like, how it hurts that it's over and now I have to wait for the second part. Like what? No, it was nicely done. But first off, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to speak with you this morning and giving me some time. I guess I kind of want to start off pretty simple, and I want you two to answer this question, both of you two. And, whoever wants to go first, by all means, jump in. But I want for you to talk to me about what the Selena series means to you. Like if you're telling, my tia Emma, who made me listen to her music when I was growing up, or if you're talking to the little girl on the south and west side here in San Antonio that dances to her music on the street, what is this series about? And I want to get your take on both of you. So whoever wants to start.
Okay, I'll start. I'm from San Antonio, Henry. I live there. My family's there. My daughter, several years ago in her elementary school, they had to, do a project about a famous person, and she chose Selena. And so she wrote about her, and she did her hair up like her, and she dressed as best she could like her. When I was going to high school, and my father would come pick me up in his truck, and he had KCOR playing or KTXN, and there's Bidi Bidi Bam Bam all over the place, and Maz and Intocable and all those different Tejano bands, that were playing on the radio like crazy back during the late 80s and early 90s. So this is beyond familiar for me. And because of that, it's extremely special. I mean, it's part of my identity.
Love that. What about you, Jaime?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I was born in McAllen, Texas. And so the Quintanillas and Selena have been part of my life forever. And so, when we talk about the impact of Selena the series, I have to just go back and sort of ask the question about how many series do you currently see on air about a Mexican-American family? How many series do you currently see on air about a Mexican-American family that's worked super hard to fulfill their dreams? And we actually show you how they accomplish it, right? And I think one of the things about the Quintanillas and Selena, when we think about it now, we don't remember all the immense hard work it took to get there, right? What does it take to actually create an icon? What does it take to become a legend? And I think what's really exciting about this series is that we really answer that question by highlighting the role of family in that journey. And I think what's really exciting about anyone who wants to watch the show is that anyone will see themselves in the show. You will see your family, you will see your dreams. And I think that's what's really exciting about, for me as a South Texan, to be able to produce something like this, because, I really want our community to see themselves reflected on screen. And what an amazing story to do it with Selena and the Quintanilla family.
And you really do get that. I'll tell you, that's one of the biggest highlights for me is that I love the multiple scenes at the table, eating, which is very common, which we can all relate to, where you have those discussions, right? And you have those moments. And that's what I really got from it. And I interviewed the professor at UTSA yesterday. We talked about it. And you exactly hit it on the nail point. Is that really what we wanted to see? Because we really haven't seen that side of her. We all think of Selena in the outfits and, of course, the music and on stage, but we didn't really see that other family part in the role that it played. Is that really kind of the highlight here with the series?
I think that's a major part of it. And I think what's amazing about the series is that we have an incredible cast that's playing everyone in the family, right? So we have Ricardo playing Abraham, we have Gabe Chavarria playing AB, we have Noemi Gonzalez playing Suzette, we have Sadie Lopez playing Marcela, and then obviously we have Christian Serratos as Selena, right? So yeah, it was a really big part of, very important for us to really make the family a shining light force of the series and put amazing actors to fill those roles. I think that's really exciting for us as a producer, right? When you actually get to have someone like Ricardo become Abraham Quintanilla and show all the behind him as a person.
And with that, Ricardo, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, and I was just going to add to that, and also, you know, to be able to see these characters or these family members fully realized, where we get a fully realized Suzette, we get a fully realized AB, you know, and not just where they're on stage and playing the music, but also when they're at home and how they're dealing with those day-to-day struggles of, you know, trying to go to school and trying to play on the weekends and all that stuff, and like, and the crappy bus that they had to drive in, and the situation and all those situations. It's really beautiful, and I love what you said, Jaime, too. This the whole, like, how hard of a struggle this was for them, how hard of a struggle it is for just any Mexican American family to simply exist sometimes back in that time period, but to try and do this, you know.
That's very true. Those peach cans got me. The whole dumpster diving, I'm like, what? This was a thing?
Yeah.
Talk about DIY. I mean, you know, I didn't even realize you could even do that with fruit cans, but apparently you can. No, I want to get you because I think that Sarah Fergani had interviewed you a few months back, and I was listening to your interview about this, and you had mentioned that in terms of the role of Mr. Quintanilla, it was easy for you in the sense that it sounded a lot like your heels here. So can we talk about you in this role and the preparation and what it took for you to play Mr. Quintanilla?
You know, I was hesitant at first. I didn't get the idea. I'm going to be very honest. And then I had a conversation with our casting director, Carla Houle, and Carla kind of walked me through it, gave me some photo representation of the fact that I would be playing Abraham over a span of 15 years. And then it started to make a lot more sense. And then I got to read some of the samples of the writing, and I was like, there's obviously some people from South Texas that are writing on this. This is amazing. And then I had the opportunity to do a Zoom audition with Jaime Enrico Martinez, another one of our executive producers, and that went very well. And then I started, as I was doing that, I was grabbing research and looking at interviews of Abraham, because I've never seen the film. I've seen snippets of the film, but I've never seen the film. And once I knew that I was going on this, like I was getting close, I hadn't quite gotten the job yet, but I was getting close, I didn't want to watch the film. And I will probably watch the film now that I'm done with the series, but I didn't want that to affect any of my decision-making as an actor. And so, but I started watching some interviews of him. And as I was doing that, I was like, my God, this guy looks and sounds just like any one of my tios, my dad, like all these guys that I grew up with. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's that macho Mexicano bravado and you know, and you know, the stoic face, but, you know, cariño, but very muy duro, you know, it's just like, and I was like, I know this, but that's also like something that's really tricky too, because it's like, oh, I know it so well, it's going to be really easy. I don't have to do that much work on it. And I made sure not to fall into that trap. So I did as much work as I could, you know, studying not just Abraham, but old videos of my father, pictures of my father, you know, going and having conversations with some of my tios again on the phone, just to hear the cadence and the way that they speak, because it is something that's very specific to South Texas.
Very true. You know, for me in this next question, it's like, I mean, I can answer this in terms of the significance of having a show like this in terms of, you know, Selena. Why now? I mean, for me, it's why not? I mean, obviously we need this representation in terms of media, but I want you, I don't know whoever wants to pick up this question, but, you know, the significance of having this show, I mean, we've kind of gotten that with the whole Mexican-American aspect of it, but why now?
Well, look, I think when we talk about Selena and the Quintanilla legacy, we're talking about someone who Beyonce credits as a huge inspiration, right? We're talking about how someone who Cardi B or Casey Musgraves, when they go to Houston, they're playing Selena songs. We're talking about someone who Renee Zellweger thanked in her Oscar speech last year. You know, Selena is a major, major American icon, not just a Mexican-American icon, an American icon. And so when people ask me sort of like, why now? A big part of it's why not, but I think a lot of people don't know the full story. I mean, Selena was a trailblazer Latina in an era where I don't think we have a lot of those reminders, right? She started her own fashion line. She started her own perfume. I mean, she was an incredible, incredible entrepreneur that sort of set the groundwork really for every pop star in the past 25 years. So, you know, I think when we talk about why now, it's a major part of that is because we really want to highlight the importance of this American icon and all she was able to achieve in the 80s and 90s. And I think a lot of people in the year 2020 will be surprised by that. And I think that gives it a lot more resonance than ever before.
I mean, if you can talk about, I see that Suzette is an EP on this show, the involvement of the family in putting this show together.
I mean, look, I've been a huge fan of the family forever, and the family is awesome. I think when you first meet them, you're like, what are they going to be like? And you get to know them, and they're so funny, they're so down to earth, they're so relatable. I mean, they're just great. And so I think for me, it was really important to have that relationship with the family and then also learn from them, right? Because I think we really want to tell an authentic story. We really want to get the truth. We really want to understand the emotions behind what it took to make an icon. And so, working with the family has been such a treat and such a delight. Suzette is so incredible, so funny, so kind, but a really smart businesswoman as well. I feel like I've learned a lot from her, and I'm really excited about this journey we've had.
And I love that. And I will tell you, the past couple of days, I've just been jamming out to the 80s Selena, which I forgot about these songs. I mean, I was born in 89, but, like a lot of these songs, I'm like, wait, what? Like Dame un beso, all the besitos, all those things that you don't really think of. But I love that's what the show has really, in this first part, has really taken us back to that. All the wild hair and the color changes, all that, is that something important, again, we haven't really seen?
No, exactly. I think it's really important to show you, all the hairstyles that Selena had, all the looks that Selena had, because she looked great no matter what she did, right? And I think that's really cool to highlight and show, right? To show Mexican Americans in 80s and 90s gear. We also looked rad. And so I think that's of the series, right? And the fun of the series, right? Because I think we're talking a lot about how important the series is, and it is, but it's also it's a fun show. You're going to have fun listening to the music that you may have heard if you're a huge Selena fan. But even if you're not a Selena fan, these are amazing, amazing hits and pop songs that you're going to be singing the whole time. And so you're going to be copying all these looks that you didn't even know she had. So it's just a fun celebration of music, of style, of everything that makes Mexican American culture so amazing. It is a big part of it.
Ricardo, what was something surprising that you've learned or something that stood out to you in the making of this?
Wow. I guess, it's honestly, I was gonna say one thing, but I'm gonna say something else. Honestly, it's to really understand when I started reading some of those first scenes about what their struggle was. There's a scene, where they are when they move over into his brother's place, and they're all crammed into a bedroom. And it's, then the parents are on the bed and the kids are on the floor. And I remember going to Eagle Pass, Texas with my father and my mother, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it was me and my two sisters and all of my primos. There must have been 10 or 12 of us, all in sleeping bags, all on the floor, on a linoleum floor in the living room, And I still remember, the bathroom, the drywall wasn't even up. It was the studs. And part of the floor was gone and you could see the dirt underneath. I mean, those are my roots. My father's roots are migrant farm workers. So it's when I laid down to do that scene, I knew exactly what that was.
You felt it for sure. And I'll tell you, the two things that stood out to me, I think there's a lot of quotable things and a lot that I think a lot of people will take from them. One of my favorites was at the scene where they're in the backyard barbecue. And Selena says, "We are Mexican, just grateful to know that part of me now, thanks to Dad." And I thought that really stood out. And I hope that resonates with a lot of people when they do see that. And I think that there's a lot of moments too, where you do have that support and that encouragement, like something else, you just be who you are. And I think that really seeing that it wasn't just her, but again, I know I keep going back to the family aspect, but I really do hope that people do take that with them. It's that encouragement in those trying times, but yet those really high times that they had.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, and I think Ricardo, did a great job showing that nuance to Abraham, right? That he did believe in his kids' dreams, that he wanted them to succeed, and he worked really hard to make their dreams come true, right? I think that's it's a major part and theme of the series about how family is a big part of all of our lives, right? And we can all, I'm very lucky to be talking to you right now, Henry, about this show, but the only reason why I'm here is because of my family, right? And I think Ricardo would say the same thing about his family.
Yep.
So that's the one thing that we really want to celebrate in the show is that if you're a Mexican-American family, you will see yourself here. But even if you're not a Mexican-American family, if you're an American family, if you're a Japanese family, if you're a Danish family, you will see yourselves here because all families know what it's like to struggle. All families know what it's like to want to have a dream and not really sure how you attain it, right? And I think the Quintanillas are just a great inspiration on how you achieve a dream.
Beautiful.
And the other, just to compound on that, is the other thing is just the absolute idea of selflessness within parenting. You know, where it's like you completely set your dreams aside and your wants and your desires to make sure that your children can achieve their dreams.
Well said. I know I've got one last question here, and I could keep going on and on and on as the chatter box that I am, but this is 2 parts, I'm assuming, right? So this is part 1 that will be out December 4th, and then part 2, is that in talks, or where are we at on that?
We've wrapped production, so we're very excited. So part 2 will be premiering at some point in the future.
Beautiful. One last selling point from you two. Any final words, to give the Selena fans on this show to wrap this up in a nice little bow?
I just think get excited. This is a really fun that celebrates our amazing culture, our amazing music, our amazing families. So just get excited for December 4th. Grab all your tias, all your abuelas, all get together and watch the show and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And
go ahead, Time.
No, and I'll just simply say representation matters.
Amen to that. Beautiful, gentlemen. I really appreciate